Hello, you have reached
This
the
call is
Department of
being
Public
recorded.
Safety stay-at-home hotline. The information you leave is considered public information. At the tone, please leave the following information: your name, your callback number, how the stay-at-home order is being violated, and where the stay-at-home order was violated. Thank you.
Record your message at the tone. When you are finished, hang up or press pound for more options.
Hey, you know what, Tim Walz, you should absolutely run for vice president because, you know, we love this kind of snitch on your neighbor thing. That is audio that was put together by the state of Minnesota by Tim Walz, who said, you have to tell us if somebody is breaking any of the rules. You have to tell us, and then we'll take care of it. That is terrifying, absolutely terrifying. Now you look at what is happening. They are encouraging you to snitch on a neighbor, but at the same time, they are taking any whistleblower and destroying them. There was a breaking story that happened yesterday. Several federal air marshal whistleblowers came forward with information that the former Congresswoman, Tulsi Gabbard, presidential candidate Tulsi Gabbard, is now enrolled in the Quiet Skies program. Now, it's described as a TSA surveillance program with its own compartmentalized suspected terrorist watch list. The hell does that mean? They are coming after the whistleblowers, and Tulsi is with us now. Tulsi, are you there?
Hi, can you hear me?
Okay, yes, I can hear you. I just got the statement from the TSA. You tell me what this means. TSA uses multi-layer security processes to protect the nation's transportation systems to ensure freedom of movement for people and commerce. TSA's Quiet Skies program uses a risk-based approach to identify passengers and apply enhanced security measures on some domestic and outbound international flights. To safeguard sensitive national security measures, TSA does not confirm nor deny whether any individual has matched to a risk-based rule. These rules are applied to a limited number of travelers for a limited period of time. Simply matching to a risk-based rule does not constitute derogatory information about the individual. That's the response that we get when we say, was Tulsi Gabbard on this, as the whistleblowers have said, and what are you doing about it? How do you respond to that?
This makes no sense. It makes no sense. And worse than that, it exposes so much about what is broken in our government. You know, when you listen to that, and I've read the words and I've heard it said a few times, a risk-based approach. So I am someone who, like a lot of Americans, enlisted because of 9/11. I've served in the Army now for over 21 years, enlisted because of 9/11 to go after the Islamist terrorists who attacked us on that day and who continue to pose a threat to us today. I've deployed to 3 different war zones over these last 21 years, most recently in Africa with special forces, focused on working with the Somali government to defeat the Islamist terrorist groups, the Al-Qaeda-affiliated Al-Shabaab group there. Deployed to Iraq in 2005 during the height of the war. And to now be in a place where my own government, under this administration, the Biden-Harris administration, is now using the TSA, using air marshals, using TSA K-9 teams, using both plainclothes and uniformed agents to surveil me in my movements because they deem me as a risk and a potential domestic terrorist. It is to say that this is hurtful, Glenn, is beyond the pale. That doesn't even begin to describe how this makes me feel. And I also know that I am certainly not the only veteran or service member who they have chosen to put on this list, because this administration has said as recently as last year in 2023, but also shortly after they came into power, that they deem those who serve in the military as likely to be domestic extremists and terrorists.
Jeez. So, Tulsi, do you think it is your?
It is insane.
Do you think it's your service, or the fact that, I mean, Hillary Clinton called you a Russian asset? I mean, I believe she was Secretary of State when she was saying that you are a Russian asset.
So I can't begin to place any kind of logic or rationale in their insane tyrannical thinking and what is driving their actions, other than what we've already seen proof of over these last 4 years is they will weaponize any levers of power they have within the government to go after those who they deem to be a threat to their power, who they deem to be a political opponent. They see those of us who rightly criticize our government and their corruption and their abuse of power as a domestic threat. They say so publicly. They say, hey, those who criticize public institutions may be domestic extremists or terrorists. So this goes against the core of our First Amendment right, which our founders intentionally put in place to ensure our protected speech, whether we be praising the government or we be criticizing our government. That is core to the founding of who we are as a country. And so not only the only assumption that I can make is that they are coming after me because of my speaking the truth in revealing who they really are. And again, these are some of the most powerful people in the Democrat Party, a party that I was part of for almost 20 years. I cannot think of any other reason for them to be targeting not only me, but my husband. And also just, it's important to note that while we have been going through this and are going through this, the reality that I now face and that we now face is this constant stress of knowing that I am being surveilled by my government and wondering if and how they are doing that. How are they monitoring my movement? Are they listening to my phone calls? Are they reading my emails and text messages? Forever from here on out, looking over my shoulder constantly. And there is no way to live free when I know that my government may be surveilling me and knowing that they have no hesitation in weaponizing whatever they can get their hands on to go after someone they deem a threat. It reminds me of the Stalin approach of, what is it? Find me the man and I'll show you the crime.
I'll show you the crime. Yeah. Yeah, it is, and especially that it's happening to you, well-known person, former candidate for president. You were congresswoman. You also are still serving in the National Guard. For them to target you is really, truly remarkable, because what do you think they'll do to the average person? And anybody who ever said, I don't care if they're surveilling or listening or whatever, because I'm not doing anything wrong. Really? Let me just play again. This is the guy who is now in charge of the digital for Harris. And this is him in 2020 saying what they did to flag misinformation and change people's minds. Cut 6.
We brought Becca on to sort of think through, okay, now that we have these misinformation narratives, what do we actually do? It is one thing to know that there is a lot of conversation online about corruption or mental fitness or any of these things, or the vice president's record on the crime bill, which was sort of a controversial piece of legislation in the early 90s. But it was another to go, okay, now what?
So what they did was they targeted you, the individual. If you ever talked about the crime bill, which is not misinformation, as he said, it's controversial, but it's not misinformation. The president's fitness to serve, that's not misinformation. You were lying to us for 4 years. And what was the other one? I don't remember the other one. But all three of those are true, and they targeted you as the individual. Now, take that one step further. If you don't change your mind, don't they Tulsi Gabbard you? Don't they Tulsi Gabbard you? I mean, I hate to make you into a verb, but you might turn into that, Tulsi. Hopefully not.
This is exactly why they do this, because of the chilling effect that it has. When you look at that clip, they're talking about misinformation or disinformation. Obviously, as you pointed out, those things were actually true. But let's say it was misinformation or disinformation. That is protected speech under the First Amendment. That is protected speech and should not and must not be grounds for our government to try to censor or silence us, or frankly, to surveil what we are doing and where we are going. They are unwilling to reveal the factors that they deem to be a risk. Obviously, this is now, the whistleblowers have leaked this. It is public information. I have seen with my own eyes the proof that I am on the Quiet Skies list. It's not just one person's word. And yet no one from the federal government has, from the Biden-Harris administration has reached out to me and to say, hey, anything. Hey, we made a mistake, or hey, here's the risk, or hey, here's the concern, or nothing. Zero. This cuts to the core of our First Amendment right to free speech, including our right to criticize our own government, and our Fourth Amendment right to privacy. Both of those are what is at the core of the unconstitutional nature of what they are doing to me. And by the way, my husband is also has been experiencing and subjected to the same thing. For what he's not involved with politics. He's not engaging in any kind of not that it would matter, but any kind of political protest. He's a filmmaker. It's not just about me, and I think this is the point. No American deserves to live in fear of our own government, whether it's surveillance or retaliation, if you say something or do something that they don't like. And this is why they have to be stopped, because we cannot live free and in a free society if we are constantly being monitored by our own government in the same way an inmate in prison is monitored by the prison wardens and guards.
Yeah, the Opticon, where you're constantly monitored and watched, was actually deemed cruel and unusual punishment. But like that matters today. Tulsi, thank you very much. I tell you, they're targeting Donald Trump to teach people like me and others, sit down, shut up, you're on the other side, we'll do anything to you. It only makes me want to fight more. I think that there's a possibility that you were targeted because you're a Democrat or were a Democrat, and you spoke out about what was going on in your own house. And, I think there's Democrats all over that would like to stand up, but, are you gonna get the same treatment that Tulsi got? Or is it worth it? The answer is yes, by the way, but just another theory.
The answer is yes, but the fact that it will have the chilling effect that they are seeking, because, I'm questioning what are the things that I may say, or the things that I may do, or the truths that I expose. How much will my family have to suffer as a result of that? What is the cost and the price that those around me will have to pay for this? It has a very real effect on us directly, as we are now. We've known about the weaponization of our governments against political opponents. Mm-hmm. We've seen it happening to Donald Trump. Now I'm experiencing it directly. And others who may not be experiencing it directly are listening to our conversation now and having that second thought of self-censorship, which is exactly the result that they're looking for. And they must be stopped. That's the bottom line. They must be stopped.
Tulsi, thank you so much. Thank you.